Hello again, and for today, we are one day away from the rise of Skywalker. And oh man, I really don't know what to expect. There are probably a bunch of people going into the theater right now to fucking sit down and watch this movie, and I'm not going to be one of them. So, for this video, this commentary, I'm going to just talk about my expectations for this movie. Now, because of the elements of Return of the Jedi that were borrowed in The Last Jedi, the finality of it, the killing of Supreme Leader Snoke, specifically, the lead bad guy, the man in the shadows, I think that it is absolutely fucking impossible for J.J. Abrams to copy anything from Return of the Jedi. And if he does, it will be like all the second Death Star battle shit that we've seen the horses ride on the Super Star Destroyers that are wrecked on whatever fucking planet that is, if it actually is the Forest Moon of Endor, which was not described to have had large bodies of water on it. But again, we shall see come tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to straight up read the plot and we're going to go over it as a fucking video, and that will be glorious. But as far as my expectations go, I feel like we're not going to get anything satisfying out of our main characters, specifically Rey, but also Finn, Poe, Kylo Ren, Rose Tico, Janna, General Hux, and whoever the fuck else is in this movie. Because, again, we have so few players to be with in this fucking movie. At this point, unless there's some leaks that come out in between the time I am recording this and the time that this video actually debuts, I am assuming that the leaks that were put out with the Wayfinder, and they have to fucking delete C-3PO's memory so that he can read the Sith language on the dagger, and fucking, Palpatine's kid and the other parent were Rey's parents, and they were the people that Kylo Ren described as drunks who sold her for gambling money, or gamblers who sold Rey for drinking money. I think a lot of that is potentially very true, and you can see that regardless of what the movie is, that the actors are not fucking pleased. I've had the unfortunate mishap of seeing some of these promo clips, and oh my god, like, Anthony Daniels is pissed. And, I would be too if I played this beloved droid character and was then regulated for fucking 3 movies to be a background prop that gets no respect. I mean, it's awful. I cannot believe that the new Chewbacca, Yuna Suamato, goes around being like, I'm playing such a great character, when he is essentially just a fucking prop for Rey to use and for Rey to translate for. Like, we don't fucking need her to translate for Chewbacca, bro. Like, oh man. And poor R2-D2, who, again, R.I.P. Kenny Baker, R.I.P. Peter Mayhew, and poor little Jimmy V, who has to sit in the fucking R2 unit. Like Kenny Baker did not sit in the fucking R2 unit for Revenge of the Sith. They actually were able to put the astromech and make it remote control operated. And yet, we now have to have an actor again because we have to make it just like the original trilogy. And it's just like, bro, that's like a fucking midget that has to sit in that tin can for hours while you guys do takes. It's just so cringy. And again, I think a lot of the droid characters are going to be regulated to props. I think we're not going to learn anything from these characters. I think the story might be just bugfuck crazy, because as anybody who watches anything by J.J. Abrams knows, he does not finish anything. He does a movie, maybe a sequel, and then will fucking hand it off to somebody else to continue it or end it. And, you know, I don't really know what else to say as far as what I think of this movie. I think if the rumors are true and that is the plot of this movie, it is going to have big bad ramifications on the Star Wars fandom. I think anyone who staked their bets in Return of the Jedi, like Movie Bob and Patrick H. Willems, is probably going to fucking hate this movie because it's going to be a refutation of everything in The Last Jedi. And anybody who really likes The Last Jedi is not going to like this. I think anybody who's in the Fandom Menace is going to laugh at this movie. I think that's going to be like a real key moment in the Fandom Menace where we get a giant victory in the form of the final chapter, quote unquote, in the Skywalker saga is going to be so mind-numbingly stupid that we will just laugh. I mean, if I end up laughing in tomorrow's video where I talk about the plot, then yeah, it will be exactly as I expected. But what are my expectations for this movie being really good and reuniting the fandom? Fucking very slim to none. I think that there is no way on Earth after The Last Jedi that this series of Star Wars movies could have wrapped up nicely. I think the fact that there was so much in The Force Awakens that was not concrete and was left to the next two movies really fucked it up for the entire sequel trilogy. You know, you did not see anything that was left to other movies in both The Phantom Menace and A New Hope. Other than in The Phantom Menace, the question is, if Darth Maul was one Sith, then who was the other? Was he the master or the apprentice? And that's just the big question for the characters to follow, but we already know is, of course, it's fucking Palpatine. He's Darth Sidious. And that is a good setup. Like, if Episode 1 was the original Star Wars movie, then that would have been a great plot to follow along, and then we would have seen in Episode 5 Palpatine again and being like, oh shit, he's still alive! And we would have then had to follow further into Return of the Jedi, seeing him at the height of his power as a political figure. And, you know, as much as I've said that a lot of the Star Wars prequels are the story of Obi-Wan, the Star Wars prequels are also the story of Palpatine and his rise to power. And I think that, you know, that political rant by Alex Jones on the politics of the Star Wars prequels is fucking amazing. And I will make sure to link that in this video as one of the sources. But, again, when we're talking about the rise of Skywalker, it's like, what am I to expect? You know, you are bringing back Emperor Palpatine, a guy who was blown into atoms along with his giant space station and a couple of large-sized super star destroyers, because you had nowhere else to go except to just pull shit out of your ass because Rian Johnson thought it would be cute to fucking kill off Snoke, kill off a bunch of these characters that you built up. Like, I think Captain Phasma was killed off because, like, what the fuck else were they going to do with her? Was she going to show up and not be a threat and then fucking live to fight another day? Like, that was probably his best idea, is to fucking kill her off. And again, you know, what do I think will this cause as far as the ramifications go for future Star Wars content? I think it will be devastating. I think it will absolutely be fucking devastating to anyone that considers themselves a Star Wars fan. I think this might kill the franchise, to be honest with you. If the rumors are true and that is the plot, there are going to be people who are going to be, like, nervously trying to defend this movie. Like, the shills are going to have the fucking worst time because they're going to have to defend this garbage and they're not going to know what to do with it, you know? And the people who stake their career on fucking Last Jedi are probably going to come out and hate it and say it outright that, yeah, why did we follow up the best Star Wars movie, quote unquote, with the worst Star Wars movie? And it's simple. It's because there was no original plan to make a sequel trilogy. There was George Lucas's plan that was probably at least coherent. And then there was this shit where they thought of it movie after movie rather than say, we have a master plan and we have a Bible to follow for the next 3 movies. And we're going to try and deliver something that I think everyone will love. And, you know, Rian Johnson, you're going to just have to fucking deal with it and not write anything. And that would have been so much smarter if they just wrote 3 movies instead of making it up as they go. Because even though some people would say that that was how the prequels were written, they still were coherent enough together. You know, it's like, you can take all 6 of George Lucas's movies, and they still flow nicely. When you inject The Force Awakens, Solo, The Last Jedi, it doesn't fit. It's so fucking weird. Like, it's so, like, out of place. And that's how I see The Rise of Skywalker wrapping this shit up. And the only reason why I say, or exclude Rogue One is because I think that's the only Star Wars movie that Disney got right. And even The Mandalorian, I think, would be in that Rogue One category of things that Disney got right. But again, The Rise of Skywalker is going to fucking undo all that goodwill. And there's really nothing that can convince me otherwise right now, unless the movie is genuinely good and I read the plot tomorrow and it's like, wow, this is actually worth going to see and investing in. Like, no one even knows what the fuck the Sith Troopers are. Like, we're gonna get this dumb explanation as to what the Knights of Ren are, and it's gonna be so stupid. Like, some of the leaks I thought were pretty okay. Like, Matt Smith was the Knight of Ren who Palpatine possesses, and that's why Matt Smith is playing a quote-unquote Knight of Ren. And again, it's just like, I listened to the David Stewart Force Awakens 4 years later review, and he talked about how The Force Awakens is essentially a Star Wars fan film where you got these 2 new self-insert characters, and they're stranded on a planet that looks like Tatooine, and oh wow, would you look at that? It's the Millennium Falcon just parked in there, and we're gonna fly it, and we're gonna shoot its guns, and it's so awesome. And then we're gonna meet Han Solo, dude. And him describing the plot of The Force Awakens like that goes to show that, like, J.J. Abrams, again, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to Star Wars. He is just making it up out of his ass. And, you know, just, again, you guys got to see that TED Talk where he talks about, you know, don't rip off the aesthetics of a movie. Rip off the characters. Rip off what makes it great. It's just like, so remake movies that have already been made before. Gee, why does anyone give you work, you fucking hack? Like, alright, I really don't know. So I'm going to start to wrap this up because it's actually much longer than a lot of the videos I've been making. And again, I think I've said everything that I think I can on the subject of The Rise of Skywalker and what I'm expecting to come out of this movie. And, you know, it's going to do a fucking number on the fandom. In conclusion, I am very excited to see what tomorrow will bring. It is going to be either a bloodbath or a fucking genocide of fucking the Star Wars fandom. You're going to be seeing so many exits, so many people saying, I am hashtag walking away from the Star Wars franchise. You know, this was their master plan. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's like, did we not learn from The Matrix? Did we not learn from fucking, you know, all these movies that did not have plans going into them for sequels and just delivered garbage after garbage? You know, it's amazing to me. But this is the world we live in. This is the franchise that we have followed for years that has now totally disappointed a majority of us in the Fandom Menace and beyond. And me, myself, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride because I'm not participating in watching this fucking movie in a theater. So I am going to sit this out as I sat out Solo. And to Disney, Lucasfilm, oh man, I cannot wait. And you idiots better tread lightly because who knows what tomorrow will bring.